Hi, my name is Matt Stewart, and I'm CEO of CollegeWorks Painting. And as I said before, I've spent the last 20 years working with college students and entrepreneurs, helping them to get ahead. Today, I'm going to be talking about time management. And I've heard a lot of people who are very worried about their time management skills. In fact, I would say that 75% of the people I've worked with, time management is their number one concern. And guess what? It's not that hard. I'm going to give you a simple system today to help you manage your time better and help you get ahead. Time management, as you may have heard in our previous videos, is a real key to solving stress. If you've woken up in the middle of the night freaking out about a test, I can help prevent that from ever happening again. Worse, if you've gone to school and found out you have a test that day, I can help you prevent that stress in the future too. Good time management will make it so today you get good grades, have a great social life, excel in work, and later on in life you're able to spend time with your family and your friends and still accomplish all that you want to set out to do. We're going to start with Stephen Covey. Stephen Covey wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and in that book he outlines some of the time management techniques and skills that those effective people have garnered over the years that help them to become effective. And I'll teach it to you. You can copy them. First of all, Covey ranks the things that we do in our daily lives into 4 different categories based on are they important or not important, and are they urgent or not urgent. And if you think about your daily life, there's all sorts of things that you encounter that are important and not important, and prioritizing becomes important in time management. Only doing the things that really matter. Second, you encounter things that are urgent and not urgent. And with great time management skills, you can avoid getting into that zone where things are important and urgent. Because if you handle something before it becomes urgent, it never becomes urgent. And that's the key to Covey's concept. Highly effective people handle things before they become urgent. Hence, they're not waking up in the morning forgetting about a test. They're not freaking out at night about tomorrow's midterm because they've already handled it through great time management skills. So let me give you an example of some things that might be not urgent and not important. Watching a TV show. You've got a DVR. You can watch it later. Watching a game. You've got a DVR. You can watch it later. Now, watching that show or watching that game may be very important to you, but really, in the big scheme of life, it's not one of the most important things you're going to encounter, and in the big scheme of life, it's really not urgent. What about urgent and not important? That's harder for me to think about, but what I think of is that buddy of yours that has to do something right now. Now, you don't have to go to dinner right now. You don't have to meet them downstairs right now. They're creating a sense of urgency that is really false. And you could probably come up with quite a few other examples of things that aren't really that important that you do. Cleaning your room, cleaning your car. Yeah, that stuff's got to get done, but it's not super important. If you put it off long enough and the mice move in and your paint job fails, then it becomes important. But there's a lot of things you can think of that you're doing that probably you don't have to do, and you could probably make more time for the things on the top half of the list. So let's talk about the things on the top half of the list. Studying for tests, preparing for the fraternity party, going to your friend's wedding, getting good grades on the midterm, maybe working out and keeping yourself physically fit. Those are all things that are important, and if you don't manage your time well, they can become urgent. And the reason why Covey wants to talk about keeping things not urgent, if everything's urgent, you don't have enough time to get things done. If you keep them not urgent, you can manage your time better and manipulate your schedule a little bit better and hit all the deadlines with a lot less stress because urgency is creating stress. So what we have to do is learn to do the important things before it becomes important through prioritization. Why? You need a social life. If you're constantly cramming for tests and you're burning your social life, the 2 weeks around midterms, the 2 weeks around finals, that's no good. Secondly, you need a job. There's millions of people that graduate from college. How are you going to separate yourself from the others? Well, most of them haven't really worked that much. You need a job. Well, if you're managing your time well, you can work, you can have fun with your buddies, you can watch the football game, and you can get straight A's. So what I'm talking about is really having your cake and eating it too. Fun, living for today, but also prepping for tomorrow and becoming successful. So let's talk about how. I've got a little system. I'm not going to talk about how to program your calendar. I'm not going to talk about color coding and repeat and how to use Google Calendars, but I am going to talk about things you're going to put into your calendar. And I'm going to talk about an action plan. So first thing in the action plan is get a calendar. And I don't care if it's paper, Google, Outlook. I don't care what type of calendar you use, but there's a myth that enters into college, and that is spontaneity is cool. Well, spontaneity is cool to a certain extent, but missing deadlines, failing out of school, not showing up at your kid's baseball game because you're not a good time management is more uncool than being non-spontaneous. So unfortunately, as you get older, you get less spontaneous, and that's just a reality of being successful and being a professional. You've got to get organized. So get a calendar, be a little bit dorky so you can be a lot successful. Now here's where it's going to get a little hard. I'm going to ask that you set aside some time to go spend like 30 minutes or an hour laying out your calendar for the entire quarter or semester. And I'm going to ask that you do that every single quarter or semester and even in the summer. So pull out your calendar right now and set aside some time. Maybe this Sunday, 1 hour, block off an hour so you can lay out your calendar, and be prepared to do that at the beginning of every academic period. Second thing that's going to be hard is pick a day at the end of the week to review next week and assess last week. So I just say Sunday night's easy, right before Monday. I don't want to do it Monday morning. So Sunday night, Friday evening, Saturday, whenever's good for you, pick a time when you can audit last week and make sure you're on target and you're managing your time right and setting enough time aside. And then also fill in the blanks for next week. And then every night, I'm going to ask that you revise tomorrow's plan. And people say, hey, Matt, why do I have to do it at night? Why can't I do it in the morning? And here's why. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night freaking out about something? Sometimes it doesn't even exist. You wake up, oh, do I have a test? Oh, I don't have a test. You go back to bed. You wake up and you're stressed out about something, and you go back to bed. The reason why you review tomorrow at night is to put your mind at ease, put your subconscious at ease, and give yourself that great rest that you need so you can handle the parties and the school and the friends and the boyfriends and the girlfriends and everything else awesome about college. And then you got to print your day and carry it around and mark on it. We'll talk about that in a second. We're going to start off with a quarterly foundation, which I mentioned before. The quarterly foundation is that time once a quarter, calendar quarter, or once a semester, where you just sit down and plug everything in that you already know about it. So you gather up your syllabuses, you get all your evites and invites together, and you go sit down somewhere and you lay out your quarter. What do you already know about? Well, first of all, at the beginning of every academic semester or quarter, you're given a syllabus. You know when the papers are due, you know when the tests are due, you know when the classes are. Plug all that stuff in right when you find out about it. The wedding that you have to go to, you got the invitation 6 months ago. Your mom wants you back for Mother's Day. You know that well in advance. So everything that you already know about well in advance goes into your planner first. That's your quarterly foundation. Now, I mentioned tests. They go in as a standing commitment, but they're really a deadline. A test, a paper, a project at work, maybe even that wedding that you're preparing for or that party that you have to build a giant event around, those might be deadlines. Those are the things that go in second because there's two parts. The first part is plugging in the deadline, and the second part is plugging in the pre-work, which we'll get to. And where most people miss is they put in when the test's due, but they forget to block in when they're going to study for the test. So we're going to talk about that in a second. Third, time-sensitive items. Things that aren't deadlines, that aren't standing commitments, but they're time-sensitive. You have to spend 2 hours a month on X or Y. Whatever it is that has some time sensitivity into it that you haven't put in there yet, put that in there third. And here's where my program differs from many people's programs. I want you to put fun in before you put in your preparing for deadlines. I want you to have a good time. I want you to be able to hang out with your girlfriend or boyfriend. I want you to watch the game. I want you to enjoy life, because if you're not enjoying life, you're doing something wrong. We work so we don't have to. We don't work just to work. So you've got to have some fun, and it's got to go in there as a commitment, because if you don't put it in your schedule, it's going to get crowded out by other things, and your life's going to be miserable. So finally, my other unique aspect is the pre-work. If you've got a final in history on December 5th, you're going to have to plug some time in to your schedule to prepare for that history test. And when you lay out your quarterly foundation, you've already put a bunch of things in there, including fun. Why not go ahead and plan scientifically when you're going to do your studying? You know how long it takes to study for a final. Let's say 20 hours. And let's say you've got 4 of them. You've got 80 hours to plan for around working out, around girlfriends, around whatever you're planning around. Why not lay it out early and know deep down, not only in your conscious but your subconscious, that you're going to be prepared and you're going to get better grades? There's a couple things that I want you to remember. You can double book things. You can study with your girlfriend. You can eat dinner with your buddy. You can wash laundry and read at the same time. So if you're finding, hey Matt, your program's lame, I don't have enough time to do everything, 1, get rid of the unimportant stuff, and 2, multitask. The other thing I want you to think about is budgeting too much time. And I've already done that to you. I said go put an hour on your budget to go do your quarterly foundation. It may only take 30 minutes, but I want you to have enough time. If it's going to take you an hour and a half to study for a test, budget 2 hours. If it's going to take you 30 minutes to go to the grocery store, budget an hour. Because if you have too much time for everything, you're going to feel a lot less stress than if you budget too little time and you're constantly late. Now you're probably asking again, hey Matt, I got too much stuff. You got to prioritize. There's things that you won't be able to do, and there's things that you may need to either do to a lesser extent. You're going to have to prioritize, though, to get everything done. And if you get really good at this, you'll find you have plenty of time. There's lots of people that run multiple companies and are great parents and are great community people. You can do all of that if you're really good at time management. And if you learn now in college, you're never going to forget. When you're an old fart like me, you'll still remember, I learned when I was in college. So after you've set your quarterly foundation, you've gone off and done this thing 1 time or 4 times a year, once every 3 months, then I said, hey, set some time up on a Sunday where you can do your weekly review. So we're going to talk about weekly and we're going to talk about nightly. Why weekly? Because there's things coming down the pipe that you know about on Sunday, and you need to put them in your schedule before you forget to. Because things change from the quarterly foundation till the week before. Because again, subconsciously, if you're in the habit of always adjusting your schedule, you know deep down inside you're on it. So every Sunday night, you're going to review the last week and see, do I need to add more time for things? Does it really take 2 hours to go to the grocery store? You're going to see, hey, did I forget to do something last week? I'm going to move it to this week because we're not perfect. And you're also going to look at next week and make sure everything you know about's there. You're double checking. So quarterly's first time, weekly second time, and third time because you're looking at last week. And then nightly, you're looking at today and you're looking at tomorrow. Did I get everything done today? Did I spend enough time on what I needed to spend time on? And do I have everything in there tomorrow? So this way, you're never going to forget anything because you're reviewing it multiple times. You're going to sleep better, you're going to have less stress, and you're going to meet your deadlines. So how do you do all this? Like I said, prioritization. Like I said, plan the pre-work in there ahead of time. Like I said, budget too much time, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Have a system. That's what we're talking about. Let me show you what it looks like. So here is a Google Calendar with the quarterly foundation. Way ahead of time, you know when your history class is, you know when your labs are, you know when your finals are, and you plug them in at the beginning of the quarter. You'll see I put working out in there because highly effective people all work out. You got to make time to work out. You'll see that there's a party in there or a game. There's time to hang out with your boyfriend or girlfriend. All that stuff's laid out, and yeah, I'm sorry. It's fully dorky. I'm a full dork, but I'm a successful dork. And I don't know really any successful people that aren't good at managing their time, so it's a trade-off. You got to make the choice. Here's what it looks 1 week out. A lot more stuff in there because as the quarter's gone on, other things have popped up. You're getting more scientific with your planning for tests. You know finals are coming, so you've got your 2-hour blocks. And I do want to mention, I do 2-hour blocks because really your mind can only stay focused for 1 hour. So you do an hour, you take a little break, do another hour, and then you're done with history. Go on to poli-sci for 2 hours. Then you're done with that. Go on to chem. I also budget my time based on how much time I need for those tests and the proximity of those tests. You'll see in the week as we get closer to the history test, we're studying more for history. And then next week as we get closer to the chem test, we're studying more for chem. Still, I've got time to work out, I've got time to work, and I've got time to hang out with my friends because I'm not a procrastinator, I'm a fully dorky planner, and I'm getting ahead and getting great grades. And then what does it look like the day of? There you go. And like I said again, every night I look at this and I say, hey, did I budget enough time? Did I budget too much time? Did I forget something? Did something not get done? Before I leave my office every day, I look at a screen like this, I make my adjustments, I make my mental note, I look at tomorrow, I print it, and I'm ready to go. So that's my system. Here's your action. Pick a day to lay out your quarterly foundation. Pick a time on Friday, Saturday, Sunday when you're going to review the week. Pick a time every night, not in the morning, where you're going to set up the day. Don't forget to plug in the pre-work to the deadlines. Don't forget to budget too much time. Don't forget to multitask. And if you try this for 2 weeks, I guarantee you'll never have a time management problem again. So thank you very much for listening to me today. I hope you have a fantastic day. Enjoy your new time management skills.